thank you so much for those who have joined class today. We're going to go ahead and lie down on our backs and get started. So we'll start off getting warmed up. We're going to hug the knees in toward the chest and hold. All right, then let's let the feet rest on the mat. We'll lengthen the arms down to the sides. And we'll go ahead and roll the head from side to side to warm up our neck. Want to get everything loosened up and stretched out. Good, all right, we're gonna work down to the shoulders. So we'll lengthen up, overhead, out to the sides, and down to the hips. So nice full range of motion to loosen up the shoulders. And then let's reverse directions. Steady deep breaths. Open the chest, lengthen and reach through the fingers. We're going to move down to the hips, and we're going to go ahead and rock the pelvis forward and back just to loosen up that lower back. So as we tilt forward, we're pressing the tailbone down and arching the lower back. As we tilt back, we're pressing the lower back down and lifting the tailbone. So again, forward and back as far as you can in each direction. All right, then we're going to keep our knees bent and our legs hips width apart. We want our feet to rest under the knees. We're going to lengthen the arms down to the sides, open the chest. The upper back is going to stay anchored. We're going to go ahead and tuck the pelvis, draw the abs in, lift our hips up, and then roll back down. So as we lift, we're just bringing that lower and mid back up. The upper back stays pressed down, and then we roll back down nice and slow. So feel each part of that back press down nice and tight as you're rolling back down. We're working on warming up and getting some mobility in the spine. Good, let's go for one more. Tuck that pelvis, draw the abs in, and down. All right, let's go ahead and reach the right leg straight up toward the ceiling, and we're going to circle it around, reaching as far as you can all the way through that movement. The upper body should stay stable and anchored. And then let's reverse directions. So again, you want to make sure that the back of the hips stay anchored. And again, you're reaching and lengthening as far as you can through the movement. Let's go ahead and switch over to the opposite side. So again, we want that upper body to stay stable and anchored. Good, steady deep breaths. Again, let's reverse directions. Again, reach out, up, across, down as far as you can. Get that thick foot warmed up. Good, and let's go ahead and lower back down. We're going to keep our knees bent, legs about, hips width apart. Let's go ahead and use the abs to lift our head and shoulders, nod the chin in, keep the strain off of the neck. We're going to pulse quickly with the arms. So inhale for 5, exhale for 5. Again, you're drawing the navel in toward the spine. Bring the bottom of the rib cage closer toward the hips. Again, inhale for 5, exhale for 5. Be careful that you're not shrugging the shoulders up. We want to keep them pressed down. Lengthen and reach the arms. Again, inhale for 5, exhale for 5. Good, let's roll back down. And again, we're engaging those lower abs. So we're drawing the navel in toward the spine. Just like there's a string tied to the inside of your belly button, pulling it down toward your back. We're going to go ahead and lift head and shoulders. Again, nod the chin in, but we're not rolling the shoulders. They're staying pressed back. And we're shifting from side to side. So we want that lower body to stay stable. Head and shoulders lifted, lengthening and reaching those arms. Good. Again, check the neck. Make sure you're not holding tension. All right, and then we'll go ahead and roll back down. We're going to bring hands behind the head with the elbows pointing out to the side. Let the weight of the head completely rest in the hands. Again, we're drawing the navel in toward the spine. We're gonna reach one leg out away from the body. So we're gonna roll the chin into the chest, lift the upper body as we pull the knee in, lower the upper body as we lengthen out. So we're drawing the chin into the chest, curling up, and lowering down. Exhale up, and inhale down. So a nice, smooth, controlled movement. The lower abdominals should stay drawn in and activated all the way through the movement. Again, inhale down, exhale up. Good, keep that neck relaxed. We really want to work on isolating the abs. Let's switch to the opposite side. Again, we're rolling the chin in, peeling up, pulling the knee in, and then lengthening out and lowering. Exhale up, inhale down, exhale, inhale. So again, we want to keep the neck muscles relaxed, elbows pointing out to the sides. Your hands are just supporting the head. They're not lifting or pressing up. Again, inhale down, exhale up. Good, all right, let's lower back down. So we're going to lengthen the arms down to the sides, draw the lower abs in nice and tight. Let's lift both legs up, keeping our knees bent. We're going to lower down one leg at a time and touch the toe to the floor. So one side, other side, squeeze the legs together, and then lower both legs down. So we'll continue now. One side, opposite side, and both. Good, so that entire upper back and lower back are going to stay anchored. And again, as you lower, you're not letting the pelvis lift or tilt. It's staying stable, you're just hinging here at the hips, and you're dropping the legs all the way away. You're not just bending the knees like this, right? We're lowering all the way away from the body. Inhale as we lift up, exhale as we lower. So just let the movement follow your breath, but just make sure that you're not pressing out those lower abdominal muscles. You want to keep them drawn in. They're not going to get a chance to relax at all. Good, all right. One more set, exhale down, inhale up. Check that neck, make sure it's staying relaxed. All right, we're gonna lower the legs down. So let's pull the shoulders down away from the ears. Again, we're anchoring the back from the shoulders down to the hips, drawing those abs in. Let's lengthen both legs straight up as high as we can. If this bothers your hips or your back, just bend your knees slightly. And we're gonna go ahead and sink it. We're gonna lower down one side, all the way up. Opposite side, squeeze the legs together, and both legs. Inhale up, and exhale as we lower. And then squeeze together, both legs down. So we'll do one at a time. Lengthen and reach through the toes, lifting up as high as we can at the top. And again, we're drawing those abs in nice and tight as we lower. That's the challenging part. And you don't want to feel any sort of strain in your lower back as you lower the legs. If you do, just don't lower down quite as far with the legs. Maybe just go down a foot or so and come right back up. So you want to go where you feel the work, but you don't want pain or you don't want to feel like you're straining. Good, let's do one more. One leg at a time, all the way down up as high as we can, and both. Good, all right, let's lower down. So we're gonna go ahead and keep the upper body down, lengthen those arms down to the sides, lift both legs up. We're gonna draw one knee in toward the chest. Opposite leg is gonna lengthen out, and we'll alternate sides. So again, draw that navel in toward the spine. Steady deep breaths. Reaching and lengthening as far as we can with that leg. And you want to make sure the shoulders don't start to shrug up by the ears. We want to keep them pressed down. Good, all right, let's go ahead and lower back down. Then we're gonna go ahead and lift head and shoulders, nod the chin in. We're gonna go ahead and pull one knee in. Opposite leg is gonna lengthen out. We're just gonna lower and lift the one leg. So again, this leg is staying nice and stable. Exhale down, inhale up. Exhale, Inhale, work hard to keep those shoulders lifted. Draw that chin in toward the chest. Good, we're gonna stay lifted. Switch to that opposite side. So good, inhale up, exhale down. Good, keep those lower abs strong and activated. Again, we don't want to be holding tension in the neck. And inhale up, exhale down. Good. All right, let's lower down. Hug the knees in toward the chest. We're gonna those abs good and warmed up. So let's go ahead and lift both legs up, again, keeping the knees back. We're gonna stretch the knees in toward the chest, lengthen and reach both legs out. So we're gonna inhale in, exhale out. Just one continuous movement with the legs. Again, pay attention. You wanna make sure that you're not pressing your lower abs out or straining the lower back. If you are, as you reach out, just lift those legs up a little bit higher. Obviously, the lower down you go with the legs, the more challenging it's going to be. Inhale in, exhale and reach. Make sure those shoulders don't start to lift off of the mat. Good, last one. All right, let's lower down. So again, we're gonna lengthen both legs straight up. We're going to lift head and shoulders, nod the chin in and pulse with the arms. So inhale 4-5, exhale 4-5. For more of a challenge, lower those legs down a little bit farther away from the body so you're keeping the shoulders lifted, chin nodded in. Nice quick rhythm with the arms. And again, draw that navel in toward the spine. Inhale 4-5 and exhale 4-5. Good, nice deep breaths. All right, let's go ahead and lower down and hug the knees in toward the chest. All right, let's go ahead and sit up on the mat. And we're gonna go ahead and lengthen both legs straight out to the front. Remember, when we're in this position, if this does put strain on your hips or your lower back, just go ahead and bend the knees so you can keep that back nice and tall without feeling strained. We're going to keep our feet flexed. Start off lengthening the arms straight out. Nod the chin in, stretch forward. Inhale as we come up. Exhale as we press forward. Inhale up, exhale forward. So arms are lengthening and reaching all the way through the movement. Again, you want to make sure you're drawing in on those lower abs. That's going to give the core and the hips the support it needs, and it's going to help you to draw up a little bit taller at the top. Exhale forward, inhale up, keep those legs stable. And again, nice controlled movement. Good, all right. Then we're gonna go ahead and bring hands behind the head with elbows out to the sides. So we're not pushing on the back of the head, we're placing our hands behind the head so we can keep the chest open. Again, we're drawing in on those lower abdominals. Without shifting the lower body, we're leaning out toward one side and then pulling back up to the center. And we're alternating sides. So you're not just letting yourself slouch down to the side, right? All the way through, we're lengthening the spine. So you're lengthening at the top. As you go out to the side, reach out, lengthen that spine out to the side as far as you can. Inhale up to the center, exhale to the side. So really focus on keeping that lower body stable. Sitting up as tall as you can at the top or at the center. And again, we want to keep it a nice controlled movement. Exhale to the side, inhale to the center. Good, again, draw that navel in toward the spine. Keep those elbows out. Last one. Good, all right, so once more in this position, keep the legs anchored, feet flexed. Hands behind the head with elbows out, again, we're not pushing on the head. So in this one, we're going to actually, again, draw the abs and you're rotating in the waist. So head, shoulders, arms, they're all moving as one unit to the side. So you're rotating to the side and back to the center, alternating sides. Inhale to the center, exhale to the side. So again, exhale, inhale. So as you rotate to the side, draw the shoulder back a little bit farther to help open the chest on that side. But again, we're rotating, squeezing in those abs, rotating in the spine. Exhale to the side, inhale to the center. Good, nice tall posture at the top. Keep those legs stable. Good, all right. Let's go ahead and roll so we're lying face down on the mat. So we're going to keep our legs about hips width apart. Lengthen and reach our arms there, staying shoulder width apart. So we're going to tuck the pelvis so the front of the hips stay pressed down. We don't want to be arching up like this, arching the back and lifting the hips. Hips should stay pressed down, squeezing the glutes. So to start, lift that head and nod the chin in. We're pressing the shoulder blades down the back. I know lots to think about on this one. And then while we maintain that stability, we're going to lift, opposite arm, opposite leg, lower down, and alternate sides. So we're lengthening and reaching through the fingers and toes. Pressing those shoulder blades down the back. Again, we're drawing up and in on those lower abdominals. Inhale as we lower, exhale as we lift. So again, keep those legs hips width apart. We want to use the hamstring on the back of the leg to lift and lengthen. You're not just kind of bending a little bit. You're straightening that leg and lifting up off of the mat. Keeping it controlled, of course. So inhale down, exhale up. Again, be careful of the shoulder blades. Don't slide up by the ears. You want to keep that long neck. Good, all right, then we're gonna lift. Opposite arm, opposite leg. The leg stays stable, but the arm comes all the way down to the hip and reaches back overhead. We're just gonna stay on that side. So lift and reach the leg. Front of the hip should stay pressed down and anchored. And we're reaching that arm all the way down to the hip and back overhead. Again, be careful that you don't start to shrug those shoulders, right? We want to keep them pressed down the back. Good, we're gonna switch to the opposite side. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Leg stays stable and lengthened. And then we're gonna bring the arm all the way down and back overhead, staying on this side. So again, reaching and lengthening. Steady, deep breaths. And again, check that neck. Make sure that you can roll the head side to side. You don't be holding tension. Slide those shoulder blades down the back. Good, let's lower down. Then we're gonna lift both arms and legs up off of the mat and do a controlled flutter kick where we're alternating. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Keep the front of the hips anchored. Pressing those shoulder blades down the back. And again, we want to breathe. Good, reach and lengthening. Keeping it controlled. Good, let's lower down. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and press our hands into the floor so that we're straightening the arms. So we're actually bringing the elbows up off of the floor. So arms are straight. Head is lifted, the chin nodded in. We're gonna go ahead and lift up one leg at a time. So all the way up so your thigh is coming off of the mat. But the front of the hips stay pressed down. We're gonna curl at the knee and then lower back down. So again, we'll curl in and down. So again, just hinging at the knee, keeping the upper part of the leg lifted and stable. So again, we're curling in, lengthen and reach through the toes as you extend. Again, keep those arms lengthened and activated, hands pressed into the floor. And then we're gonna go to the opposite side. So we'll lift the leg, upper part of the leg stays stable. And again, we're curling in, lengthening out. So upper part of the leg stays stable. Again, we're just hinging at that knee. Lengthen and reach those arms. And breathe. And be careful our shoulders don't start to shrug, right? We want to keep those shoulder blades pressed down the back. And again, just curling in, lengthening out. Good, all right, let's lower down. resting under the shoulders, pulling the elbows into the sides. Again, we're tucking the pelvis, so the front of the hips stay pressed down, tightening the glutes. We're going to squeeze both legs together. So as we squeeze the glutes and press the legs together, we're going to do 2 quick kicks and back down. So 2 quick kicks up and down. So going up as high as you can without shifting the hips. Again, you want those hips to stay pressed down. You don't want to be arching them up off of the mat. So again, a nice quick rhythm. Squeeze those legs together. Again, we're keeping the elbows pulled into the sides. And breathe. Good, all right. Let's go ahead and sit back up. So again, we're gonna lengthen both legs straight out. Again, if this bothers the hips or the back, bend your knees, but keep your feet flexed. We want that nice tall back at the top. So we're gonna go ahead and bring hands behind the head with elbows pointing up to the sides. Again, we wanna make sure we're flexing the feet so we get a good deep stretch on the back of the legs. Again, we're not pressing on the back of the head. We're simply placing the hands behind the head, keeping the elbows out so the chest stays open. Lengthen up as tall as you can at the top, and then we're lengthening forward as far as we can. Inhale up to the top, exhale forward. Inhale up, exhale forward. So again, as we go forward, we're not just slouching forward like this, right? We're lengthening, reaching out toward the toes as far as we can. So again, deep breath in at the top, exhale forward. Inhale, exhale. Be careful with the shoulders. Again, don't start to shrug up. You want to keep them pressed down. And exhale forward. Inhale up. Let's go for one more. Good. Then we're going to bring our legs a little bit wider. So we've got a leg on each side of the mat. Anchoring the legs, flexing our feet, bringing our arms straight up to the front. So keeping our legs stable, we're not letting them rock back and forth. We're gonna hinge forward, inhale up, exhale forward. So again, we want those legs to stay nice and straight. As we come up, lengthen to a nice tall back. Arms stay reaching and activated all the way through. And inhale up. Exhale forward. Try to keep those legs stable. Again, we're drawing in the lower abdominals. Good, all right. Let's go ahead and bring our legs back to the center of the mat. Again, we're keeping them hips width apart again, flexing those feet. Lengthen our arms out to the sides so our palms face forward. Again, we're gently sliding the shoulder blades down the back. Draw the abs in. We're going to rotate in the waist. So again, head, shoulders, ribs, they're all moving as a unit. You're just rotating in the spine. So rotate to the side, stretch forward, across that outside, that opposite foot. Inhale at the center, exhale as we alternate. Inhale, exhale. Good. And again, remember, as you're reaching forward, you're coming across so the palm faces out. Opposite palm presses across. So the palms are pressing in opposite directions. So exhale forward, inhale up. Good, keep those legs stable. And again, we want to sit up as tall as we can at the top. Good, all right. Let's go ahead and roll again. So we're lying face down. So we're gonna go ahead, prop up onto our elbows, keeping our elbows right under the shoulders. Legs stay hips width apart. We're gonna go ahead and lift our hips. Draw those lower abdominals in nice and tight, and breathe. Steady deep breaths. If you do want more of a challenge, you can rock forward and back to the balls of the feet and to the toes without lifting or shifting the hips. For even more of a challenge, you can lift one leg up and again, rock forward and back. Again, you gotta keep those hips lifted, abs drawn in. Good, Good, let's go ahead and lower back down. We're gonna go for one more. So again, make sure elbows over to the shoulders. We're lifting the head, nodding that chin. So again, we'll go ahead and lift up. Lengthen our legs. For more of a challenge, again, you can rock forward and back, or even lift one leg up. Same thing, rocking forward and back. But again, we want to make sure that we're keeping those lower abs drawn in and lifted. Lengthen the legs. Good, and let's go ahead and lower back down. All right, we're gonna go up onto our hands and knees. So we're going to bring our hands right under the shoulders, and then we're gonna scoot the knees back so that we can lean forward. So you want a nice straight line from the shoulder down to the knee. So again, you're tucking the pelvis, pressing those hips forward. So we'll keep our head lifted, and then we're gonna lower down, bend at the elbows. We're pulling the elbows at the sides. Elbows aren't going out to the sides. They're pulling into the sides and right back up. So we'll just continue to lift and lower. If you want more of a challenge, lift up onto the feet, same thing. Drawing in on those lower abs, pulling elbows into the sides. Exhale down, inhale up. Exhale, inhale, good. Let's go for one more. Good, all right, let's stretch back. Stretch out those wrists a little bit if we need to. And we're gonna go for one more set. So same thing, we're bringing those hands right under the shoulders. If you're gonna stay on your knees, scoot the knees back so you can sink forward and have a nice straight line. You don't wanna sag down like this, right? You wanna make sure you're keeping those lower abdominals drawn in and lifted. And same thing, we're gonna pull the elbows in. And I'll keep it nice and controlled. Exhale down, inhale up for more of a challenge. Drop up onto those feet, breathe through it. Inhale up, exhale down. Good, keep those hips lifted, legs lengthened. Good, let's go for two more. Inhale up, last one. Good, all right, let's sit back up. Again, stretch out our wrists. We're gonna go ahead and roll onto the side. So we're gonna bring a hip and a shoulder toward the back of the mat. Doesn't matter which side you start on. Lower down. We'll prop the head up. Lengthen our legs, and we're going to angle them forward to that opposite corner of the mat. So again, we want the neck to stay relaxed. We don't want to shrug the shoulders, right? We want to keep them pressed down. Keep that hand pressed into the mat in front of you. As we go through the leg series, we want to make sure we keep the hips open. So what that means is we're not rolling in with the knees and the toes. This is neutral. This is rolling in. We're going a little bit further than neutral, so the knee and the toes angle out just slightly. So again, we're drawing those lower abs in. We're gonna go ahead and lift straight up, straight down. Exhale up, inhale down. Lengthen and reach through the toes. Exhale, inhale. Remember, as you're lowering the leg, you wanna press it down. So we're actively lifting, actively pressing it down. You're not just letting it drop. And again, we want the knee and toes to point up toward the ceiling, keeping that hip nice and open. Good, let's go for two more. And last one. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and lift straight up, bending. We're hinging at the knee, bringing the toe all the way down, and then slide straight out. So straight up, hinging at that knee, and out. So as we bend, again, we want that knee to point up. We want the toe to come all the way down to that bottom leg. So again, exhale up, inhale down. Exhale, inhale. Again, we're reaching as far as we can, all the way through the movement. One more, and then we'll reverse. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and slide up as high as we can, keeping that hip open, lengthen and lower. So again, slide up, reach and down. So again, we want that knee to point up toward the ceiling. And we want to keep the toe along the leg up as high as we can, before we straighten it. Check your neck. Make sure you're not starting to hold tension there. We don't want those shoulders to start shrugging up. Good, all right. Then we're gonna go ahead and bring the leg up to the height of the hip. Reach it straight out to the front and straight behind. So straight forward, straight back. The leg is going to stay right at the height of the hip. And as you pull behind, you might feel like your hip and your core want to roll forward, but you don't want to let them. They've got to stay stable. So you're just hinging in the hip joint here. So you may not be able to go back quite as far, but that's okay. It's really important that we keep the core stable because that means we're keeping those abdominal muscles activated. And again, we're reaching as far as we can. Keep that top leg at the height of the hip. Good. All right. Then we're going to go ahead and point the toe, lift the leg up to the height of the hip, flex the foot and lower. So point and lift, flex and lower. For more of a challenge, lift that one leg up and hold it stable. So again, we point and lift, flex and lower. And again, keep that upper body stable, draw those abs in. We want the neck muscles to stay relaxed. Good, all right, and we're gonna go ahead and hold that top leg stable at the height of the hip. We're gonna lift and lower the bottom leg to touch the top leg. So again, we're reaching and lengthening both legs. Be careful on this one that your top hip doesn't start to fall back. We wanna keep it lifted. And then we're gonna go ahead and flex the foot and lift and lower. So using a little bit different muscles there. Keep that top leg nice and stable and lengthened. And again, we're drawing in those lower abs. Good, and then let's lower down. We'll bend our knees. We're going to bring our feet toward the back of the mat, keeping our feet pressed together. Again, we're rotating in this hip joint, opening up and lowering down. So exhale, open, inhale, close. So again, you're not leaning back. The upper body and core stay stable. Again, you're just hinging at the hip. So exhale up, inhale down. Again, we'll keep those feet pressed together. And again, check those shoulders. Make sure they're not starting to slide up by the ears. And then we'll go ahead and open up. Keep the top part of the leg stable. We're going to hinge out, down, and close. So again, we're opening. Top part of the leg stays stable as we lengthen. Again, we're just hinging at that knee, reach out, touch the feet together, and close. Good, breathe through it. Last one. Good, all right, let's straighten the bottom arm, lay the head all the way down. We're gonna reach the top arm straight out to the front with the palm facing down. And then we're gonna go ahead and reach it behind with the palm facing up. So forward with the palm down and back with the palm up. The reason we're keeping it facing up is to really focus on opening the chest as we reach behind. Good, nice full range of motion. Try to keep the rest of the body stable as you're pulling that arm back. Good, all right. Let's switch over to the opposite side. So again, we're lining up a hip and shoulder toward the back of the mat. Just prop that head up. Again, we want to completely relax the neck. Shoulders should stay pressed down. We're going to lengthen our legs, angle them forward slightly to the opposite corner of the mat. And we're gonna go ahead and open the hip on that top leg. Lift straight up, straight down. Exhale up, inhale down. So again, we're reaching and stretching through the toes, and we're actively pressing down as we lower. So again, that bottom leg anchored and reaching. And exhale up, inhale down. We want to make sure that top hip is sitting right on top of the bottom hip. So again, we're not rolling back in the hips. Good, let's go for one more. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and lift straight up. Bend at the knee, bring that toe down to the bottom leg and slide out. So again, straight up, bend, and out. Exhale up, inhale out. Exhale, and inhale. So again, be careful that you don't start to shrug those shoulders, right? We wanna keep a nice long neck. Bring that toe all the way down to the bottom leg. And then we're going to reverse. So we'll slide up, lengthen, and reach. So again, that toe stays touching the leg up as high as you can. Straighten and reach. Good. Keep the bottom leg lengthened and pressed tight into the mat. And again, check that neck. Make sure it's staying relaxed. Good. All right. Let's lift this leg up to the height of the hip. We're going to reach it straight out to the front and straight behind. So remember, we're keeping the leg at the height of the hip all the way through the movement. And as we reach behind, we don't want to shift our weight forward to stay nice and stable. Again, you're just hinging at the hip. Straight forward, straight back. Good. Draw those lower abs in. Again, we're not letting those abs relax at all. They're getting quite the workout. Good. All right, then we're going to go ahead and point the toe, lift up to the height of the hip, flex the foot and lower. Point and lift, flex and lower. Remember, if you do want more of a challenge, lift that bottom leg up and hold it stable. Or again, just keep that bottom leg down on the mat. So only if you want a little bit more of a challenge. Point and lift, flex and lower. Good. All right. Then we'll go ahead and lift up just to the height of the hip, hold it stable. And we're gonna lift and lower the bottom leg to touch the top leg. On this one, check those hips. It's easy for that top hip to start to roll back, but we wanna keep it sitting directly on top of the bottom hip. So nice and controlled. Lengthen and reach both legs. And then we're gonna flex the foot on the bottom leg, same thing, lift and lower. Good, check those shoulders. We don't want to start wearing them as earrings, right? We want to keep them pressed down. Nice long neck. Good, let's lower down. Then we're going to bend our knees, keep our feet toward the back of the mat. We want to press our feet together. We're going to go ahead and open. So we're rotating in this hip. We're not shifting the hip or the abs at all. We're opening and closing. Exhale, open. Inhale, close. And keeping the feet pressed together. Good, again, inhale down. Exhale up. Good, all right, then we're gonna add the extension. So we'll open, keeping the top part of the leg stable. We're hinging at the knee, reach out, bend, and lower. So again, open, lengthen, bend, and down. Again, keep the neck and the shoulders relaxed. Good, again, we're just hinging at that knee. Good, and last one. Good, all right. Let's straighten the bottom arm, lay the head all the way down. We're gonna reach the top arm straight out to the front with the palm facing down. And then we'll stretch and reach behind, keeping that palm up. Palm down to the front, behind, open that chest. Again, we want the neck to stay relaxed. And again, we're reaching and stretching. Steady deep breaths. Good, all right. Let's go ahead and sit back up. And we're going to bring our arms right down to our sides. So our hands will rest right next to our hips. We're drawing our abs in. And again, we don't want to slouch forward. We want to keep the chest open. Abs drawn in. We're going to go ahead and lift both legs up. So again, we're not slouching back. We want that nice tall posture. Drawing stable. Just really focus on pressing shoulders down, gently nodding the chin, keeping the core activated. If you do want more of a challenge, you can go ahead and lengthen both legs out and hold stable. So again, we're drawing in those lower abs. Keep those hands down to the sides to help support. Good. Or again, you can keep those knees bent and just hold stable. All right, let's lower back down. Then we're gonna bring our hands behind the hips with fingers facing in toward the hips. So we wanna go ahead and straighten the legs, press our legs together. And again, we're kind of scooting out a little bit. We're gonna press the heels into the floor. We're going to push up. So again, we're not rolling in like this. We're not keeping that core posture. We want to open that chest, lengthen those arms. We're going to lift our hips up and hold. So we have a nice straight line down the body. Keep that chin knotted in toward the chest. Lengthen and reach. Dig those heels into the floor and breathe. Good, let's go ahead and slowly lower back down. And if this puts a lot of stress on your wrists, you can just go down onto your forearms and lift the hips that way. That's an option as well. So same thing, lengthen, squeeze the legs together. We're gonna go ahead and lift the hips, straighten the arms. Nice straight line down the body. Again, we're not sinking into the shoulders, we're pushing up, gently nodding that chin in, and breathe. Good, work hard to lengthen both arms and legs. Keep those hips lifted. Good, and we'll lower back down nice and slow. All right, so let's go down onto our backs. And we will bend our knees, keep our legs about hips width apart. And again, we want to keep our feet right under the knees. We're going to pull the shoulders down, away from the ears, and we want to keep the entire upper back anchored. We're going to go ahead and tuck the pelvis, lift the hips, and again, we're going up. We don't want to arch the lower back, so we're keeping the pelvis tucked to keep a nice flat back. And again, we want a nice straight line from the knees down to the shoulders. We're not arching the upper back. We're keeping the upper back down on the mat, but at the same time, we want those hips lifted. So we're just gonna hold, nice deep breaths, glance down toward the hips, make sure you're staying lifted and level. You don't want to sink to one side. So again, dig those feet to keep the hips lifted, but again, we don't wanna arch the back up off of the mat. So again, nice deep breaths. We're keeping the upper part of the back anchored. Let's roll down. So again, you're feeling each part of that spine press down one vertebrae at a time, all the way down. And again, same thing. We will tuck the pelvis, lift our hips, draw those abs in. Again, we want to keep the upper back anchored. And again, tucking that pelvis. So we can hold stable in this position. If you do want a little bit more of a challenge, go ahead and lift up one leg, keeping the hips lifted and level, and you're reaching it straight out away from the body. But again, we don't want to lose stability in the hips. They should stay lifted and level. Dig that opposite heel. Keep the neck muscles relaxed. If you've got a leg lifted, let's go ahead and switch. Again, keep those abs drawn in, pelvis tucked, hips lifted, and breathe. Good, we want to make sure we're not putting a lot of stress or strain on the neck. Good, if you've got a leg lifted, go ahead and lower, and then we're going to roll the back down, nice and slow. Good, all right, so once more, let's go ahead and tuck the pelvis, lift our hips. So again, we want to make sure we're lifting so the hips come up, but we don't want that upper back to arch off of the mat. And then you can hold stable. If you would like more of a challenge, just go ahead and lift up onto the balls of the feet and lower back down. And we'll just continue to lift and lower. Again, we want to make sure we're keeping those hips lifted. Nice straight line from the knee down to the shoulder. And again, check our neck muscles. Make sure they're staying relaxed. And breathe. Good. All right. And we'll go ahead and slowly roll down one last time. Again, feel each part of that back. Press down tight. All right, so we're going to keep our entire back anchored. Draw those lower abdominals in. Reach both legs straight up toward the ceiling. Now we're going to go ahead and do a quick switch kick. It's almost like a flutter kick with the legs. As we do that, we're reaching our legs, lowering them down away from the body, and then just coming right back up. So nice and controlled. Inhale as you come up as high as you can. Exhale down. Again, you're paying attention to the lower back. You want to make sure that you're not arching the back off of the mat or feeling any strain. If you do, don't lower down quite as far. Good, one more. Draw those lower abs in nice and tight. Good, let's go ahead and lower down. All right, we're gonna go ahead and lengthen our arms out to the sides with the palms facing up. Straighten the left leg, press it all the way down. Right leg lifts straight up toward the ceiling. And we're going to make a nice big circle with that leg. So reaching as far as you can, all the way through the movement, keeping the rest of the body stable. Let's reverse. So down, out to the side, up and across. We want the back of the hips to stay anchored so that we're isolating that hip joint. We'll switch over to the opposite side. Same thing, reach and lengthen. Keep those arms extended and press into the floor. And again, we will reverse directions. Steady, deep breaths. All right, and we'll lower down. Let's go ahead and start our cool down. So we're going to hug both knees in toward the chest again. So pull in nice and tight so you feel a good stretch in the hip flexors and the lower back. Good, all right. Let's let our feet rest on the mat with our knees bent. Again, we want to pull the shoulders down away from the ears, keeping a nice long neck. Without lifting the head off of the mat, we're pulling the chin in toward the chest and then release. So just continue to pull in and release. So what we're doing is we're really lengthening and stretching the back of the neck, decompressing those vertebrae. So again, you're not lifting the head. Keep the back of the head pressed down, and you're pulling the chin in toward the chest. And release. So you should feel a nice stretch down the back of the neck or even through the shoulder blades, and through the center of the shoulders. Good, all right, then we're gonna work back down to our lower back. So we're gonna tilt the pelvis forward and back like we did earlier, just to release any tightness we may still have in the lower back. And then we're gonna reach one leg straight up toward the ceiling. Grab between the ankle and the knee. We're flexing the foot and pull in toward you until you feel a nice stretch down the back of the leg. And we're just going to hold Take some full deep breaths. Each time you exhale, try to pull into the stretch a little bit deeper. Good, all right, let's switch over to that opposite leg. Same thing. We're lengthening the leg but flexing the foot, and we want to pull in until we feel a good stretch down the back of the leg. Good, and again, deep breaths in and out. Each time you exhale, try to, again, pull in a little bit deeper. Of course, you don't want to force anything. But as you take some deep breaths, sometimes it helps you get a little deeper into any kind of stretch. Good, let's lower down. We'll keep our knees bent. Cross one leg over so the ankle sits below the knee. Keeping that bottom leg bent, we're going to go ahead and lift up. Grab around that thigh, and then we want to pull in toward the body and hold. So we want to keep the back pressed down. We're just hinging at that knee, and again, you want to feel a good stretch on the opposite hip. Again, we're taking some full deep breaths. Good, and let's switch to the opposite side. So again, keeping that knee bent, pull in, so you feel a nice stretch on that opposite hip. Steady deep breaths, keep the neck muscles relaxed. Okay, let's lower down. And then we're gonna sit back up on the mat. And let's go ahead and reach both legs straight out to the front. We're gonna go ahead and fold forward, so you can either grab your legs or your feet, whatever is most comfortable for you. And you wanna try to pull yourself forward to a spot to where you feel a good stretch on the back of the legs as well as the back. So we're just gonna hold. Take those full deep breaths. Good, let's roll back up nice and slow. And we're gonna finish up stretching out the neck. So as always, you can stay sitting on your mat, or you can go sit on a stability ball, sit up in a chair, whatever is most comfortable for you. But we're gonna go ahead and gently press our shoulders down, keep the head lifted. We're gonna grab the top of the head, pull across, and then try to press that shoulder down. So we want to lengthen and stretch between the shoulder and the ear for a deeper stretch. Bring that opposite arm behind the back to further press the shoulder down. And we're just going to hold. Slowly release back up, and we'll stretch to the opposite side. Again, we want to keep the head lifted as we're gently pressing across. Slowly release up. So we're going to go ahead and again gently press our shoulders down, nice tall posture, keeping the head lifted. We're going to rotate the head from side to side. Again, going as far as you can to each side to release any tight spots you may still have in the neck. And then as we go to the side, without lifting this opposite shoulder, we're going to nod the chin into the shoulder, release up, and alternate sides. So again, both shoulders should stay pressed down. They shouldn't be lifting at all during the stretch. Again, we're just nodding that chin to the shoulder to lengthen and stretch down the side of the neck. Then we're going to roll the shoulders forward a couple of times and back. All right, we are finished. So thanks so much for joining class today, and have a great day. We'll see you next time. Thank you.